Hi all and welcome to Cloud Certification on AZ104 and we are first day on the 3-day session for the AZ104 training. Today we have Robin who is our trainer who will be walking us through all the main modules in AZ104 which you need importantly to be known for the exam and preparing for the exam. And Today's session is 2 to 3 hours. Please do make sure that you have the time with you to be completing, or if you don't complete it, the recording will be available in our YouTube channel, and you can rewatch it before you join the next session. And Without any more delay on the session, or we can get into the session. Robin will be introducing himself on short introduction on himself, and we'll be getting started. And I'm moving the mic towards Robin to get started with the session. Over to you.
Hey, good morning, and thank you, Surak, for a nice introduction and welcoming the team. Hey, happy Monday, team, and welcome to AZ104 technical discussion. I request everyone to confirm the audio first before starting this one. Surak, just confirm your end first because in between I
Yes,
just changed my device, so just want to ensure audio has been clear.
yes, it's clear and there is no echo.
Okay, good. So once again, welcome to AZ104 program. My name is Robin, and I'll be driving this training program. Along with me, we have a Surag also. It's been available on the call and chat. In case if you need any support on terms of in a technical or a facility side, he'll be able to help us. That's a small intro about our program. So Suraj is already given a detailed intro about this program. It's going to be a free webinar for us. So regularly we have doing similar kind of a program on a different Microsoft verticals or a different Microsoft technologies. In case if you're not familiar with or if you're not registered, we are sharing the YouTube link and Discord link, requesting everyone to subscribe this one, join this one, so that will be help us to get the latest notification about this program. EIFD, it's been only voice based because we have a large audience has been joined today. So in case if you're going on video, that may affect the bandwidth and most of the members may be not able to attend this one. So we prefer to have a audio based, live, scenario based the session for this one. So rather than going on in a video based one. So right now on the chat, Mr. Suragi has been sharing all the links of which you can able to bookmark it or you can subscribe. So because every week we have a similar kind of free webinar has been doing. So that will help us to enable your technology. That will help us to understand or move you into the cloud journey here. So that's about the overall intro about the training program. Let's start the session. Let me share my screen. Give me a second. I hope you can able to see the screen here. So I just shared cloud fundamentals presentations.
Mm, Actually, I'm not able to see it yet. Okay, so
Still, it's been not
it's
loaded. It's
it's
given.
it's visible now.
Okay. Now, once again, welcome to AZ104 program. So today we are moving on to AZ10 topic. So first few minutes, we'll be discussing about the fundamentals part, which already we have discussed in AZ900. Because when you are moving on into AZ104 program, we want to ensure that your foundation is strong and clear because AZ104 program is basically it's more into the administration side. So the first 30 minutes we'll have some discussion around Microsoft Azure fundamental parts, especially the core services currently it's been available. Then we'll be moving on into the compute side, how a VM can be configured here, or how the VM connectivity can be made it on in a cloud side. So we'll be discussing about all these points. Now, about me, my name is Robin. I have a 17 years of experience on Microsoft, especially on the multi-cloud. Multi-cloud means that Microsoft, AWS, and Google. Last 7 to 8 years into the, especially focusing more on the designing and architect or security side of the cloud, and the total overall experience of 17 plus years, holding 35 plus certificates, and handle almost 200 plus programs on Microsoft and different technologies. And I'm based out of India. That's about my background. So we'll do one thing. We'll take a few minutes for knowing each other. You can paste your name, from which country have been connected, and your experience on Microsoft Azure. Maybe few people may be already working on in Azure, or few people maybe the first time maybe it's been starting your journey on in a cloud. So you can have a small intro about yourself on in the chat window. Put your name, country you have been connected. So that will help us to professionally to connect each other. So let's take another 2-3 minutes. Yeah, sure. If you're giving an intro, give an intro about your full name, from which country you have been connected, and your experience on in cloud. So based on that, I can able to plan the session. So in case if the batch has been completely from a freshers, so I can spend more time on the basic part or the fundamental part, or from the scratch I can able to start the session. So that will ensure that all of us are clear about this topic, and end of the day or end of the training, this will be fruitful to you. So thank you, team. So thank you for updating. Yeah, please update your details. Thank you. So a few more people has been left out. So thank you, team. We have participants across the globe. It's a global team. So we have people from Malaysia, Indonesia, Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, Philippines. So it's good. So we have people across the globe. So thank you, team. Thank you for joining and spending time and uh, be part of this program. Thank you for that. Appreciate your willingness for to learn new technology here. No problem. So few people has been marked, has been no experience, no issue at all. Will help you to understand this technology here. Let me move to the next slide. Now about this training program. This is going to be the next 4 days of the training program, as Virag said. So daily we'll have 2 to 3 hours of sessions, ensuring that we are trying to cover almost all the modules or the services related to AZ104 program here. I'll try to give you the PDF copy of this, and recorded session, as Suraj is mentioned, it's been available on the YouTube link and the Discord link also. At any point of time, you're thinking like, I need to go back and attend these sessions, so you have a recorded session is been available. So that will help you to understand the technology, or in case if you want to learn or watch this video again, you have a facility has been available here. That's about the facility part. Now, how the course has been structured, we have focused more on AZ104 program. We are closely aligned with the Microsoft official curriculum programs. Plus, we are trying to do some practical sessions as well. Whenever we are delivering a program, we are ensuring that the module or the course is been handled or it's been delivered in a such a way that this is practically has been shown to you. So that will give you a confidence to you. And all the training material will be provided end of the training. So lab part, whatever sessions we are doing, as I said, you have a live practical simulation or practical explanation about the services will be handled or it's been delivered during the program here. Now, let me start with a few fundamental course which already are discussed in the last sessions, basically in the AZ901, but it's mandatory that we need to have a clear understanding about this. Then only you can able to move to the next part here. Now, all of us are aware that almost all the organizations are focused more on into cloud or artificial intelligence or automation here. So that is the strategy of almost all the business or organization. They want to move to the cloud technology here. Now, if you take any organization or any business or any project, the number of the resources is got trained or it's got enablement of the cloud, it's been less than 30%. That's the reason almost all the organizations are focusing more on the automation or a cloud areas. As an individual, this is giving an opportunity to me, because in case if I'm moving, like if I'm learning this one, I'm getting a lot of opportunity in my office or in my project for growing further. So I have option to move or grow internally, or you have option for move externally also. You have an option for move external or internal also here. So right now, all the organization have a shortage of the skilled resource. So this is giving a opportunity for us to grow further. This will giving an opportunity for us to learn and move to the next role here. When you are preparing for a cloud site, when you're going for purchasing a mobile or when you're purchasing for a car, you may be seeing like there are many vendors are available in the market who has been capable to provide the cloud solution or capable to provide that particular product. For example, like in case if you're going for purchasing a car, you may be having a different models are available, even your mobile also. Similar way, if you take it to cloud solutions, there are many vendors or a leading companies are available in the market who has been capable to provide the cloud solution to us. They are basically known as CSP. You may be heard about a term called ISP in your home. The vendor who has been providing internet to connection to us, basically they are known as internet service provider. Similar way, the company who has been providing the cloud solution to us, basically known as CSP. That's called a cloud service provider. You can able to see Microsoft, Amazon, Google, or other vendors like Alibaba or HP or a VMware. There are many players are available in the market who has been capable to follow or capable to provide the solution to us. The cloud product available from a Microsoft is basically known as Microsoft Azure. Already you may be heard or you may be familiar with this program. You may be heard about another product called AWS. That is a product available from a Google. Sorry, this is a cloud product available from Amazon. So AWS is the cloud product available from Amazon. GCP is the cloud product available from a Google. Don't think that, or don't sit with a perception only Google or Microsoft or Amazon is available. No, you may be able to see there are many vendors available in the market who has been capable to provide this solution to us. You may be able to see you have a Alibaba or HP or a VMware or a Salesforce or a Rackspace or a Red Hat. There are many vendors are available in the market who has been capable to provide this cloud solution to us. Now you may be getting a question, how this has been different from on-premises one. Now let me take you into whiteboard. Give me a second. Let me load the whiteboard here. So right now we have learned about a program called CSP. So let me give you some notes related to that. I just pasted the link on the chat. So right now I just pasted a few lecture note on the chat, which we will discuss about a cloud service provider. So cloud service provider is a company who has been providing this one. So these are the few example you can able to see in the market. I just pasted a few details on the. I request everyone to copy paste this. So this is a lecture note for you. So these are a few vendors available in the market here. So right now we understood a cloud is a solutions which you are getting from a cloud service provider here. Now we are getting a question here. What is a cloud computing here? Now, if you take any infrastructure or in any organization, you may be able to see there are three type of infrastructure available in the market. If you take any organization, you may be able to see there are three type of infrastructure you can able to see in a customer places. One is be knowing as a on-premises solution. So if you take any IT infrastructure, you may be able to see there are three infrastructure nowadays you can able to see. One is be known as cloud. Second one is be knowing as on-prem. Third one is be knowing as colocation one. If you take any organization, you may be able to see there are three type of IT infrastructure you can able to see one in a customer place. Can you tell me what is a on-prem IT infrastructure? Can you comment it on the chat? Have you heard about a term called on-prem? On-prem data center or a on-prem data room? Can you comment it on the chat, please? Have you heard about a term called on-premises? Can you comment it on the chat? Few people has been commenting they have been heard about the term called on-prem. Okay, let's wait for the input from everyone here. So right now, if you go to your office, you may be seeing there is an isolated room inside your office, right? That basically known as data center or data room, right? Have you seen any place? It's been mentioned as entry has been restricted and only authorized person can enter into that room, where you have a lot of physical servers or rack or a network equipment is been placed, right? You may be able to see in your office there is an isolated room is been available. Inside the room, you may be able to see only few people is been entering here. Basically, we used to call as a server room or a data center or a data room, right? That basically known as on-premises solutions. In case if you're not aware of this, when you're going to your office, ask your IT team, where is our data center? Where is our data room? Definitely they will show you, hey, this is a place, entry has been restricted, and when you're looking inside this the room, you may be able to see as many people has been, our colleague has been commented on the chat, a lot of servers or a rack or a network equipments or a firewall, it's been available inside that. So basically it's a room Basically, the infrastructure is been hosted inside. The term we can able to use it's called hosted. It's called a hosting. It's been hosting inside your office here. Now that kind of a model basically known as on-premises model. Now we are getting a couple of questions here. What is the purpose of this servers here? Can you comment it on the chat? What is the purpose of this IT infrastructure? I know I'm starting from little scratch because few people has been first time has been attending, so that the reason just covering some basic topics here. What is the use of a this servers here? Basically, it's for providing infrastructure solution to us, right? This is for hosting an application or hosting your database or making a IT connectivity for your office. Now, when you take your organization, this kind of a model where completely the infrastructure is being hosted inside your office, basically known as on-premises solution. On-premises solution means that whatever devices or infrastructure is been available inside that, it can be a server or it can be a data center solutions or it can be a storage or it can be any device. Who purchased that one? Who got ownership of that? I can able to say the term called ownership and control, right? So if you're taking any on-premises data center, there are few key terms or key points we need to remember here. One is about who purchased this device here. You may be heard about a two financial terms. One is called capex, or you may be heard about a term called opex. Capex means that capital expenditure, and opex stands for operational expenditure. Capex means that capex and opex is the one of the commonly heard term in a cloud scenarios. Basically, like when you're going on into a cloud scenarios, you may be hearing about especially in a project document, you may be hearing about capex and opex. So capex stands for when you start a data center, you are putting some cost or investment inside that, basically for purchasing a product or purchasing a solutions. You may be putting some expenditure that basically known as capex cost. When you start a data center, you need a number of servers, you need a number of solutions, right? So the amount of the money which you are investing for a long term, that basically known as capex. Basically like a purchase or acquisition or a construction or any kind of physical asset which you are purchasing, that all it's been coming on in a capex cost. Opex is basically using whatever expenses or amount you're spending for ongoing expense, basically like employee salaries or whatever rent you're doing or whatever maintenance you're doing, whatever software license billing you're doing, or whatever amount you're spending for a marketing or an operational cost, that is basically considered as a opex cost. So if you're taking any IT infrastructure, you may be hearing about a two term. One is being known as a capex and another one is being known as opex. I just pasted a few lecture note related to that on in the chat, so that will help you to understand better about this capex and opex. I just pasted few key points related to that. I request everyone to copy paste that, so this maybe give you some additional learning about this. So capex and opex, these are the two finance term you can able to see it on in a client place. Right now, what I'm trying to say here is when you're using a on-premises solutions, the capex cost means that when you start a data center, right now we understood this has been hosted inside your organization. So the amount of the money which you are spending for purchasing a server or a rack or a storage, that is being considered as a capex cost. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you're taking an on-premises solution, capex cost is involved. Second point, whatever devices you are using, it's been completely owned or handled by us. So the complete ownership of your device or the complete ownership of your data center has been coming responsibility of the particular client or responsibility of a particular IT team. So on-premises solution means that the first important point you need to understand, it's been completely owned and hosted inside your organization, and we are responsible for the capital investment or ownership of that particular device here. Now, once the device has been on, or once the device has been implemented or deployed inside your organization, we are getting a few questions here. Who will be responsible for maintenance and updates here? In case if you want to go for some kind of a resource upgradation or monthly patching upgradation, who is been responsible for that? So the organization will be responsible. It's not the vendor. So the moment when you deployed a on-premises solution, we are responsible for maintenance or upgradation of the devices in the data center. So it's been a responsibility of us for maintaining or hosting, or it's been upgrading the resources inside a on-premises one. So we are responsible for that. Now, when it is coming on in another model, basically on in a cloud solutions, instead of hosting the data center inside your organization, the complete data center will be hosted by the CSP. So the moment when you connect it to, or when you start using a cloud solutions, the data center or the servers or a storage or a rack or a network equipment, it's been not owned by us. It's been completely owned by the organization, or it's been completely owned by the cloud service provider. Because in a on-premises scenario, you may be seeing the purchase of the server or the purchase of the hardware or the purchase of the storage device. It's been completely owned by us. But when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, ownership of the device or ownership of the physical asset is being owned by the cloud service provider. That is an important point you will need to remember, especially on in a on-premises scenario here. On in a chat, let me give you a few important point related to the on-premises data center. I just pasted on the chat. This will help you to understand better understanding about on-premises solutions. So these are the few key points you can able to copy in case if you're not aware about this. So I just pasted few key important points about on-premises solutions here. Let me pause it here for taking a question. So far we have been discussed about on-premises and co-location one or cloud one. So if you're good, requesting you to comment a good or like button on the chat, just to ensure that we both are on the same page. If you're able to follow me and what was topic so far we have been discussing been clear to you, requesting you to comment on the chat. So thank you. So unfortunately, we have a large audience. I'm not saying unfortunately, we have a large audience here. So it's be very tough for us to enable mic for everyone here. So I request everyone to use this chat window for updating this details here. So thank you. So a few people has been commented on that. Requesting everyone to spend some time on updating this. So just want to ensure that whatever topics we are discussing has been clear to you. Thank you, team. So we got this one. Okay, great, super. Right now, we understood two terminologies or two terms here. One is called on-premises one, and second one is been like a hosted or basically known as cloud solutions. Now, right now, I'm going to discuss about how do we access this cloud solutions here. Right now, you may be able to see here when you're using a on-premises solutions. In a on-premises solutions, in case if you are hosted any servers or a rack, you may be seeing this has been handled or this has been connected using a directly or remote, right? For example, in your data center, if you hosted a server, let me give this is as your DB server. Now, in case if I need to access this DB server, you may be remembering one option. I can go directly to the data center. I'm discussing about an on-premises scenario. In case if I want to access this data center, in case if I want to access this DB server, I'll go directly into the data center, and from the data center, I can be able to manage this one, right? I can be able to go to data center directly. I can connect to monitor, or I can able to connect to the data center, and I can able to handle. This is the one way of handling. Or you may be used another technology like RDP server, or we used to use it called RDC or RDP. With the help of a remote procedure protocol, we have an option to connect to the on-premises data center. Now we are getting a question. Right now we understood when you are using a cloud technology, the servers are being hosted inside a cloud data center or cloud premises. I'm sitting in Philippines, or I'm sitting in Sri Lanka or Nepal. How do we access the server which is being hosted in a cloud technology? That is an important question. Right now, all of us are getting here. You may be remembering, in case if you want to use Amazon Prime Video, or I'm not sure have you used a term, a product called Netflix or Hotstar, right? Have you used this product? Basically, it's a OTT platforms. Normally, we are using for watching movies, right? Hollywood movies, or if in case if you have you heard about this product, Amazon Prime Video or Netflix or Hotstar kind of a videos? If yes, can you comment it on the chat? I'm not sure if this product has been available in your place. In India, we are using this one. Yes, I think few people has been heard about this one. Yes, Netflix or Amazon Prime or a Hotstar. These are the few products we are using. Great, super, thank you. Now you may be seeing, in case if I need to use this OTT platform, a couple of actions you need to do it on your side, right? What was the first action? One, it's been like you need to create a account, right? In case if I need to use this one, for example, like in case if you want to use a Gmail, how it is been done? You have created an account, right? Similar way, when you want to start Facebook or Instagram, what is the first action you have been done? You have created an account. For a Gmail or Instagram or a Facebook, we don't need to go for any payment. But in an Amazon Prime Video or a Netflix or a Hotstar, this kind of a product, you maybe notice we have to take a plan. Basically, we are calling this as something called as subscription, right? The term basically known as subscription, monthly billing. We are using a term called subscription here. So what I'm trying to say here is, in case if you want to use a cloud technology, it's mandatory that you need to have an account to be available. What I'm trying to say here is, if any point of time, if anyone from the batch want to use a cloud technology, you need to have a account to be available with you. Without account, you will not be able to use the cloud technology. Right now, we understood Microsoft Azure is the cloud product available from a Microsoft. And in case if somebody want to use this one, you need to use something called as account. So basically known as, it's called account is being needed. In case if you want to use the services, or in case if you want to connect to Microsoft portal, it's mandatory that you need to have an account to be available. Without an account, you will not be able to access this one. It's mandatory that you need to have a account to be available. Now coming on into Microsoft side, there are three ways you can able to create accounts. So when you go for a account, you have a three option is been available. One, it's basically known as you need to have a free account. Second one, it's been like almost all the organization will have enterprise agreement, that basically known as corporate or a partnership with Microsoft. So they will have an enterprise agreement will be available. And third one, it's been like you have a Azure Pass vouchers. Now, if anyone want to use the Microsoft Cloud, it's mandatory that you need to have an account available. Without account, you will not be able to use the cloud. That is an important point all of us need to remember in the first instance. Now, second point here, it's how do we create this account? One, it's like in your office, You don't need to go for creating an account because already the organization have an agreement with the Microsoft, and they already made a uh, agreement with the Microsoft, and already they got a license from enterprise level. So you don't want to go and create anything from your side. It's been completely managed by your organization here itself. But when you start working on in your own, or if you're when you start planning for doing some self study, Microsoft is giving a free account to you. Microsoft is saying, hey Robin, hey Surya, go and create an account, start exploring our product. This something like when you're going for purchasing a car, we are getting a free ride, right? We can able to see it's called we used to go for a uh, free ride, right? Just for checking whether basically like checking whether the product or the car is been okay for us, or is there any kind of compatibility or any kind of issues we have with a car. That information we used to get it like while once you're going for a free ride, right? Similar way here also, when you're using a Microsoft product, Microsoft is giving a free account to you. Free account means that Microsoft is saying, please come and explore my product. I'm giving a 30 days of free account to you. Anyone want to use this one um, Microsoft product, they can able to go and use this one. The moment when you create a free account, Microsoft is giving $200 free amount on in your bucket. So free $200 is getting on in your account. So any service, whether you are using a compute or any product, when you are enabling or when you are powering on in your or when you are deploying on in a cloud, that will be debited from this $200. So Microsoft is giving $200 that will be valid for 1 month here. So with the help of that, you can able to practice all the labs, or you can able to do all this kind of a configuration on in the cloud scenario here. A couple of points you need to remember here. When you're using Microsoft free account here, that got a validity only for 30 days. For example, like if you're trying to use it on a 31st day, you will not be able to use that one. So only 30th day, or only 1 month only you will be able to use this product here. You will not be able to use it on the 31st day. So only the 30th day only you will be able to use it. This $200 you will be getting only one time. You will not be able to use it more than one time. Only one time only you can able to use it. And the moment when you're planning for creating a free account, you need to have your credit card or debit card to be available with you, and you need to register with your mobile number, and you need to have a mobile number to be available. You need to ensure that your it's been registered with your mobile number, and you need to ensure that whatever credit card or debit card you're using can be used only for one time, and you need to have a valid email ID to be available. So only with the help of this mandatory information only, you will be able to create a account. So you have a credit card or a debit card, and you have a mobile number is needed, and with the help of that, you can able to use it. So as I said, this can be used only for 30 days. After 30 days, whatever services you have been hosted with the help of a free account, that will be disabled. So that is an important point you need to remember here. Now, you may be having a couple of doubt here. In case of I've been used or consumed this $200 within a 3 days or a 5 days or a 10 days, what will happen? Will Microsoft will give additional dollar? No. This $200 is like a pocket money. This can be used only 30 days. In case if you've been utilized or consumed within a 2 days or a 3 days, Microsoft is not going to give anything extra here. So this has been used only for 30 days. In case if you have been not used, it's been not carry forwarded to the next month also. Now, in case if anyone want to use this one, you can go to the Microsoft portal here. Just it's very simple procedure. You need to um, go to Azure free account. Just use the term Azure free account. From this link, you can able to create it here. I just pasted the link on the can. Yeah. Now, Mahmoud is asking a question. Can you show me how to I receive a $200? Um, it's very simple, Mahmoud. Right now on the link, I have been in the chat. I have been pasted a link. You need to click on this link, and you can able to click the button called start free here. You need to just sign up with the details. You need to provide your credit card or the detail account here. So let me give you a few notes for this. Give me a second. Let me give a few lecture notes related to this Azure free account. Let me paste it on the chat. Just give me a second. Let me type it on the chat. Just give me a second. Request everyone to use this. I can see yes, I just pasted on the chat. Attendance link will share soon. So these are the few important point for this one. Bangladesh has been supported. Maybe you maybe already use your email ID or account in the past. Maybe that's the reason you may be able to. You are not able to create this one. From a Bangladesh, we have a few participants joined in the last batch. I, it's been already. In case if you already taken, that means already you have been registered. So either you may have to use a different account and you need to go for any this one. So you may have to go for a different account here. You need to have a different credit card or debit card to be used here. Yes, John, will be use that. So basically, like uh, whatever sessions we have been recording here, that will be uploaded on in the YouTube link. So that will help us to video again. So this will be available on the YouTube and Discord link also. So right now on the chat, I have been provided all the lecture note related to the free account view. Any questions from anyone before moving on into the next part? Any questions? Yes, you need to have a valid credit card or debit card has been available for creating a account. Yes, you need to have any. Yes, we'll be giving a free certificate you end of the session. You will be getting a free uh, account for you. So that's an important point you need to remember here. Any other questions from anyone? I'm getting another questions on the chat. Is there any O365 account can be used? Yes, you can able to use your Office 365 also. Previously, this was been known as Microsoft 365. You can use that also. Are there any corporate package for? Yes, the smart there is an enterprise agreement or corporate account has been available here. That is enterprise link has been used or enterprise agreement has been available. That the reason in your office you're not using any separate free account creation, right? This has been taken care from the enterprise level itself. So that's been already it's been available. There you have an enterprise option has been available, and you have a free account option also has been available. I see many people taking a edu mail without a card. Yes, there is one more option has been available. That basically, Mahmood, it's known as Azure Students account also. In case if you are from a college, you have an option for taking a students account. Students account will have a $100 only. It's been available. That is a program from Microsoft, especially that program has been designed for students. That is giving Microsoft is giving a option for all the students to practice Microsoft services or resources. So Microsoft has been given this option for students. So this program has been only available for students who has been enrolled from a college. They have a valid educational email ID or accredited education institution they are studying, minimum 18 years of old. they can eligible for this program. They need to have a valid school or college email address is needed. So with that, we can able to register this one. So there is a students program also. It's been available. Let me give you a few details for that. I just pasted it on in the chat. So maybe this has been helpful for you. There is something called as Azure Students Program. So in case if you are from a college, in case if you are from a schools, you don't need to have a debit card or a credit card needed. With the help of a student's account, you can able to use this one. So students account, students program has been available here. So with the help of that, you can able to do. I just pasted few details about this. This also similar like your free account. 1 year you can able to use it here. So you have an option has been available here. I just pasted the details on the chat here. So with the help of that, you can able to use it here. I just pasted the details on the chat here. I just pasted training and resources and details. Uh, if you're looking for Azure Students link, give me a second. Let me give you the details. I think I have handy with me. Just give me a second. Yes. I pasted the link on the chat. You can use this one. Students program link. I have pasted on the chat here. Your email is been not taking a permission here. Maybe Microsoft is been not able to recognize your institution. Maybe that the reason. So you can just send have a word with the Microsoft support team, and all your college ID card details can be shared. They will help you to allow us for creating this one. Maybe Microsoft is been not recognizing your organization. That's the reason. Yes, there will be a free certificate you will be getting monthly. End of the program, you will be getting the certificate. So you need to ensure that next 4 days you are attending and you're update registered for this program. Only they'll be getting a certificate. So you need to ensure that next 4 days you are attending the program, then you'll be getting a certificate. So that's about the account creation here. Now, in the AZ900 exam, we have seen how Azure account is being created here. Now, right now we are going to discuss about a topic called let me. I can see there are a few. I'm just coming in, Sunny, on that point. Okay, I'll be discussing about a compute point. That time I'll be able to answer question related to that. Now, right now I'm going to discuss about how to use Microsoft Compute here, or how do we use Azure Network or Azure Compute resource for connecting here. Right now we understood a couple of points here. In case if you want to use Microsoft Azure, you need to have a free account or account is being needed. It's mandatory that we need to have an account only we are able to use the cloud solutions. That is an important point. So far we have learned from here. Now, right now I'm discussing about when you're going for a free account. So without account, you are not able to connect to Microsoft portal here. For example, you're sitting in a Philippines or India, and in case if you want to access a cloud, how do we access this one? There are multiple methods are available basically for connecting to Microsoft Cloud here. That basically known as management, basically known as management tools. For example, like in case if you want to connect to the cloud infrastructure, there are different management or connecting mechanisms are available. One option is been like you can able to connect to cloud portal with the help of portal portal.azure.com. So basically, like when you're going for any kind of a configuration, you have a portal.azure.com. This is the server is been available here. Now portal.azure.com is one of the commonly used method. With the help of that, you can able to connect to the cloud infrastructure. So Azure Bot Portal is the one tool normally we are using. Second one, it's been like you can able to use another tool basically known as Microsoft Azure PowerShell. In case if you are from a automation background and if you're good in a command base, you can able to use Microsoft Azure PowerShell. In case if you are good in a command, you can able to use another product called CLI also. That's called a Microsoft Command Line Interface. So these are the few management tool normally we are using, which will help us to connect to Microsoft Cloud Portal here. So with the help of that, you can able to connect to the Cloud Portal here. So with the help of that, you can able to connect to the Microsoft Cloud Portal here. So right now I'm going to use Microsoft portal.azure.com. I'm going to use a GUI based tool which will help us to connect to the Microsoft Cloud Portal here. In case if you want to access this one, we will be using a portal.azure.com link. In case someone want to connect to this, this will be connected to the cloud portal here. So I'm just connecting to this portal here. Right now, you may be able to see on the screen, we have connected a cloud portal. You can able to see this is the cloud is been connected here. Now, once you connected, you will get a screen like this. This is basically known as Microsoft Azure portal layout. Right now, you can able to see this has been connected using a Microsoft Azure portal layout here. You can able to see a screen like this. So with the help of that, you can able to manage all the resources on in the cloud portal here. You can able to see there is a screen where you can able to see all the services or resources is been available here. Now, the first term you are learning on in a cloud that basically known as resources. Right now, you can able to see the moment when you connect on in the screen, you will get a screen like this. Some situations you may be able to see on the left side there is a resource panel is been coming. Whatever window or a option which you are getting on in the left side, basically known as a basically it's been known as a panel window. This is basically known as resource panel. Some situations, this option if you are not seeing here, you need to click on this settings button here. On the settings button, you can be able to see there is a option called a appearance and startup window here. For example, like if you are clicking on the appearance and startup window, you may be able to see there are two options. One is being known as a flyout mode and second one is called docked mode. In case if your option is been not selected as a docked mode, you will not be able to see this window here. For example, right now you can able to see, in case if I've been click this one right now on in a home screen, you may be not able to see this resource panel window on the left side, right? Left side, you are not able to see this one. So you don't have option for that because it's been not showing there, right? Now, technically, if you want to get this one, you need to enable your window on in a cloud portal. So you need to ensure that you are selected this docked mode on in your cloud portal. You need to go to the settings and the appearance and startup window. You need to select this docked mode. Then only you will be able to see this resource panel on in the left side. Now, the moment when you selected this left side window, you may be able to see an option called all services. So you may be able to see the option called all services here. So all services means that the services which Microsoft has been supporting on in a cloud portal here. Right now, you may be able to see all the services has been organized in a category mode here. See, it's in a different category mode. This has been organized. Right now, you can able to see compute or a container or a database or a DevOps or a general or a hybrid. Depends upon the services. You may be able to see there are uh, services has been available here. So basically whatever services currently it's been displaying or showing here, basically known as Microsoft Azure resource. The technical term, you can able to use it on a cloud. It's called Azure resource here. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud, you may be able to see there are 35 plus services is been supported on each category here. So the technical term for all these services is basically known as Microsoft Azure resource here. So we can able to use, or the technical term we used to use it called Microsoft Azure resource. So any manageable component available on in a cloud portal basically known as Azure resources. It can be a VM, it can be a storage account, or it can be a app service, or it can be a database, or it can be Azure function. This basically known as resources here. So it's called as a Azure resource here. So Azure resource is basically a term, or it's been a technical term. We are using any manageable component which has been available on in a cloud, basically known as Azure resource here. I pasted few details about that. I just given some few lecture note related to Azure resources on the chat. So it can be a VNet, or it can be storage account, or it can be any manageable component. So the technical term we used to use it for any manageable component which has been available on in a cloud portal is basically known as Azure resources here. You already learned about another term called resource group also, right? The logical container which you are using on in a cloud, basically known as a resource group also. So you maybe already studied this in a your AZ900 session. Any logical group which you are making with the help of a resource is basically known as resource group here. So there are two important terms you maybe already studied in your AZ900 session, Azure resource and Azure resource group. In case if you have been not having a details about resource group, I'll explain you. It's basically a logical container. Basically, it's been using for managing your resource group here. So basically, it's been using for grouping your resources which has been available on in a cloud portal here. Okay. Now let's take a 2 minutes break. Let's take a 2 to 3 minutes break and come back. After that, we'll be moving on into the Azure Compute, the first technical module for the day, that basically known as Microsoft Azure Compute. Let's take a 2 minutes break and come back. Can you give me the first questions? Mohammed is saying, like, can you give me a free way to create a RDP? And yes, Mohammed, this has been coming under virtual machine session, which are going to discuss this one. So that's the reason that question has been not answered, because we are not discuss anything about a virtual machine. So we'll be discussing that during the virtual machine session. So the first questions answer we'll be discussing once you started the virtual machine session. Second question, you are saying, like, is there any way to create before creating account, whether my college email will get a permission or is a free titles? Mohammed, you are from in case if you are from a recognized university or a college, with the help of that college email ID or a school email ID, you will be able to get it. In case if you're not able to do that, then you may have to reach out to Microsoft through the support team. That is the only two option is been available. So that is I hope both the question is been answered. Rayuk, answering to your questions, this has been available in our YouTube link. Surag has been already pasted the link on the above the chat. Uh, the link, Discord link, and the YouTube link, and our page link, everything it's been pasted on the chat. We'll be reposting that link soon, so you can use that for rewatching, or again, if you want to watch this program, you can use that one. So the link will be shared once again on in the chat window. So please have a eye on in your chat window. So we'll be sharing the link very soon now. Any other question has been pending or needs to be answered? Yes, thank you, Surag. Surag has been pasted the YouTube link on once again on the chat here. Now, let's move to the technical side of the session today. Right now, we discuss about Microsoft Azure fundamentals. We understood how AZ104 is been planned for delivering, or what are the modules it's been available here. So we are going to consider the basic resource which has been available on in the Microsoft portal, that basically known as Microsoft Azure Compute. You maybe already heard about a product called Compute in your day-to-day operations. Basically, any resource which has been dealing with memory or a resource like a CPU, that basically known as Microsoft Compute here. So I'm just giving a scenario here. All of us are working for an organization. I'm working for a medical research company here. Right now, end of the session, the organization is decided like we'll go for upgradation or migration of your resources into the cloud. So that is a lab right now we are going to do here. So the currently the company is facing some kind of issues. Currently the number of the servers or the infrastructure they are using, it's been old servers. They want to ensure that aging has been affecting their total performance. They want to migrate into a cloud infrastructure. So this is the case study currently we are discussing here. So they want to migrate your infrastructure into the cloud technology here. That is the first assignment or issues which we taking here. Second case study we are going to discuss. Currently, the same client having servers or resources being scattered across the globe. They have servers is in US. They have the resources is available in Canada, South Africa, Philippines, or in Nepal. There are different locations geographically this been scattered. Now they want to ensure that all these resources has been managed from a centralized locations. They don't want to send any on-site engineer. Completely, this needs to be managed or it's been handled from a centralized location here. So we'll be discussing about a case study. How do we manage the servers centralized method? What are the options currently we have? So we'll be discussing about a case study. How do we connect to a servers where we have a centralized mechanism is been available? So these are the two case studies we are going to discuss it today here. Right now, when we had a discussion about AZ900 or Azure fundamental session, we have learned you have a few important points here. Basically, you have a ISAS or SaaS or a PaaS. These are the few service model is been supported on in the cloud based on how the responsibility is been scattered or how the responsibility is been um, assigned. Based on that, we have a three service model basically it's been available from NIST. One is been knowing as a infrastructure as a service. You have a platform as a service, and you have a software as a service. These are the three model it's been available from a cloud. Now, when you discuss about Azure Compute, your Azure Compute is basically coming under a category of ISAS product. It's been coming under a category of a ISAS product. So it's been coming under a ISAS product. It's basically known as infrastructure as a service. Now, coming on into ISAS product or basically on a compute one, you may be seeing there are 35 plus services are coming or it's been part of Azure Compute. For example, like when you go to Microsoft Azure portal, the moment when you go to a Microsoft Azure portal here, you may be able to see the category is something like compute category. If you're taking, you may be able to see like you have a availability set or a lab account or SSH or a Azure virtual desktop or virtual machines or a VM image, or there are different services is been available here. There are 35 plus services, 35 plus. I'm just giving some. Okay, so you have a 35 plus services are available from a Microsoft. So compute is a category or it's a service related to the Microsoft resources, especially like a CPU or a memory, or it's been like anything related to the compute resource like a disk or a processor. That all is been coming under a category of a compute one. So you may be able to see like you have a compute resources been available on the chat. So you can able to see like you have a virtual machines or a functions or a app service or a virtual machine scale set. You can able to see all this product is been coming under a category of Azure Compute here. Now, today we are discussing about one of the smallest or commonly used service which has been supported on in a Microsoft cloud, basically known as virtual machines. You maybe heard about a term called virtual machine or on-premises scenario. You may be using a physical servers here. So you may be able to see you have a physical servers or you have a on-premises situations. You may be using a physical box available or physical host you may be used. But the same kind of a device which has been coming on in a cloud, basically known as Azure Virtual Machine. So the technical term we are using it's called Azure Virtual Machine. So the technical term we are using here it's called virtual machines here. Now let's understand about how virtual machine is being created here. All of us are already familiar that when you're using a physical host or a physical server on in a on-premises scenario, basically on in a three situations we are using a physical situation here. We are getting a couple of questions on in the chat. I'll be answering all that questions once the module is been over. Okay, so let's wait for a few minutes. So let me complete the module and all your questions will be answered. So let's wait for that because in between, if I'm switching between questions and module, I'll not be able to position to complete this module. So this basically we are focusing more on the AZ104. I'm seeing all your chat messages and no need to put a reminder here. I'll ensure that all the questions will be answered. So in between, if I'm moving on into a chat and questions here, I'll not be able to do this one. Seeing your questions, Mohammed, I have answer all that questions possible end of this one. So we'll have a we'll spend some 5 to 10 minutes only on the Q&A. I'll answer all your questions. Okay, let's wait. Let's finish this module first, then we'll come back to the chat messages here. Sorry for that. And right now I'm trying to discuss it here. Whenever you need a application, whenever you need a complete control all over your physical host or a servers, then you can able to go for a virtual machines or a physical server. You may be seeing like in an on-premises scenario, we are implementing a physical servers, right? You may be taking a Dell or HP or a Cisco or a couple of vendor servers we are taking, and on top of that we are installing an operating system, and on top of that you are installing your application, and on top of that your data is been coming. That is the way we used to handle it on in a on-premises scenario here. But when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, instead of using a physical box, we will be using a hypervisor, or with the help of a hypervisor we'll create a guest operating system. You may be remembering in a on-premises scenario how the physical host is been configured. You may be remembering you are taking physical box, you are taking a physical box. On a physical box you will install the operating system. On top of that your application will be installed. On top of that your operating system is been coming. So that is a way we used to have a method, or that is a way the server is been implemented in a on-premises scenario. Now right now we are discussing about how this has been implemented in a cloud scenario. In a cloud scenario, the backend technology we are using it's called something called as a hypervisor. So the technical term or the technical method we have been used, it's basically a hypervisor. So hypervisor is the term we use or we are using on in a cloud scenario. So on in a hypervisor, you will install the operating system in a small unit. This is basically known as VM, or few people may be using it's called guest operating system. So you have a VM is been available. It's basically a it's called VM. So this is the term we are using here. So you can have a VM or a guest operating system. It's been available. and backend Microsoft is using a cloud technology, or it's called a virtualization technology. It's called hypervisor. So what I'm trying to say here is, whenever the client is need a complete control over your system or a server, we used to use it a virtual machine, and the backend technology we are using it's called hypervisor. So hypervisor is the key component or a key technology, all the cloud technology has been using on in the backend. So with the help of a hypervisor, you can able to manage, or you can able to create a number of guest operating system on in the cloud. So you have a guest operating system has been available, and this has been created with the help of a hypervisor. So whenever you want to go for a multiple servers, you have an option for creating a multiple guest operating system. With the help of that, you can able to create multiple VMs here. Navneet, I may be okay. Let me explain you what is hypervisor. Navneet, you may be remembering, for example, like you are working for an organization. Now, one of your client or one of your requester is coming and saying, "Hey, Navneet, I need one server." Normally, you will assign one physical server to him. For example, like it's a OS. On top of that, you have installed a DB server. Now, Naveed, one more customer is coming saying, "I need an Oracle server." So you have implemented another physical server. So on top of that, you installed operating system. On top of that, you installed Oracle database. Now you think a scenario like you are working for an organization where large number of the volumes of users are available, and they have a 100 or a 200 servers is been implemented like this. What are the concerns or what are the challenges you are going to face it here? I'm just giving a scenario. One of your customer, you have a 100 or a 200 physical server is been available. So that kind of a scenario, how will you manage that? Naveed, question to you. Have you seen this kind of issues? You may be seeing like if creating a new service, okay, you created a new service. For example, like you have a 200 servers you've been created, physical servers. What are the concerns or challenges you have? In case if you are created a 100 or a 200 servers, what are the challenges you are using or you're going to face it here? Obviously, you need to have a data center or a data room to be available. You need a cost or a budget for that, and you need a space also, right? You need to have an infrastructure, or you need to have a hosting space, or you need to have a data center or a data room to be available. With the help of that, you can able to configure that one, right? Now, so that was the one of the concerns we were facing on in a olden days, because you have a that many number of the servers needed, and we need a space for that, which will be allow us to create this data center or a servers here. Now that was the one reason, like a capex cost or a budget or a hardware. Second important point here is the utilization. Now if you take a if Navini has been configuring 100 servers, if you calculate this utilization here, overall utilization, this is coming 2% to 10% only. The utilization which you are going to get it on each and every server, it's only 2% to 10%. So the organization is thinking, I'm spending unnecessarily, I'm spending a hardware, or unnecessarily I'm spending a capex cost or a budget for the servers here. So that was the situation in a few years before. So that's the reason organization is came with a product called a hypervisor. So hypervisor, a product, they have been introduced a product called hypervisor. What this hypervisor will do, this will allow us to install these servers. For example, like if you take a physical server, on this physical server, instead of operating system, you will install this small software here. It's called hypervisor. You may be heard a product like a Hyper-V, or you may be heard about a product called VMware Workstation, or you may be heard about a product called vSphere, or you may be heard about a product called Oracle, right? So there are many products are available in the market which can be installed on top of your hardware, and with the help of that you can able to virtualize your hardware. I'm saying it's a virtualize. It's not that Navneet or Surag or Ravi or a Robin is not going to break your server physically here. Instead of that, with the help of this hypervisor, virtually you're breaking the servers here. Is that point is clear? Okay. Now the product is called hypervisor. Now, Navneet, you can do one thing. Let me give you a self-study topic for you. Now, based on how this hypervisor is been installed, it has been again classified as two models. Basically, it's been knowing as hypervisor type 1 or a type 2 hypervisor. So basically, you have a two model. You can able to see it on in a customer places. Yes, it's almost a similar kind of things, Raghuman. It's a similar kind of thing. Virtually, you are partitioning here, but this partitioning has been done with the help of a product called hypervisor. So with the help of that, the partitioning has been done. So with the help of that, the partitioning has been done on in the cloud side here. So it's completely done with the help of the product here. Now, Microsoft Cloud, or if you take any cloud vendors, on the back end they are using this technology for breaking your servers here. It's not that Microsoft or a AWS or a Google is not physically breaking your server. Instead of that, virtually it's been breaking with the help of this product here. So with the help of this product, they are breaking the server here. That's the important point you need to remember here. So with the help of that, the hypervisor is been breaking here. Now, when you're going for breaking or when you are going for installations, right now I'm going to discuss about how the installation is being done on in a cloud side here. Now, a couple of points you need to remember here. Right now, we understood whatever the servers is been hosted here, that basically known as a VM. So it's basically known as whatever virtual machine which you are installing on in a cloud. Basically, it's been known as a VM. The shortest name which you are going to use it to called a VM here. Now, a couple of points you need to remember. When you deploy a server on in a cloud infrastructure, there is a cost is been involved. There is a cost is been involved. It's not that it's been a free. No. In case if you're be hosting any server on in a cloud infrastructure, there is a cost is been involved. So whatever configurations you are doing or how many minutes you are been using on in a cloud, there is a cost is been involved. So that is an important point you need to remember. So whatever servers if you are hosting on in a portal, you need to have a cost is been involved. So with the help of a cost, there is a cost is been involved, and it's mandatory that we have to pay the amount to cloud service provider. It's not a free of cost. So you have a cost is been involved for that. That is an important point you need to remember here. There is a cost is been associated here. Now, when it is coming on into a cloud scenario here, you have a virtual machines. It's been available. Give me a second. Give me a second and just uh, Mahmudullah, uh, uh, we are not answered all the chat questions here. So in between the session, if you're posting, I'll not be able to answer your question. So hold for all your questions. In between the questions, in between the session, if you're posting, it's been tough to answer all that question. It's not that we are purposefully avoiding your questions. As I said, hold for some time. We have a Q&A session has been available. Q&A specific time has been available. During that sessions, we'll be answering that one. So let's hold your questions, okay? Because in case if I'm focusing more on a question, I'll not be able to cover the topic here. So end of the day or end of the training, we'll not be able to finish the topic. So I'll ensure you, I'll promise you, I'll answer all your questions. I'll keep Q&A session end of the day, or so that time all your questions will be answered. Right now we are focusing on the presentation or the lab part, so that the reason we are missing a question is not that chat moderator or myself is purposefully you are skipping a question. Let's wait for that. Let's give some time for answering this one. Okay, now okay now we have discussed about a hypervisor. Hypervisor is the term we have been using on in a cloud scenario here. So that is an important point you need to remember. So in case if you've been not familiar with this one, let me give you few lecture note for related to hypervisor. That will give you some insight about that. I have some lecture note handy with me, so that will give you some details about hypervisor here. Hypervisor detail. Let me paste it on the chat. So this basically is known as VMM or product. You can able to see on the chat. Let me give you few note. There are two type you can able to see here. Let's go through this note. In case if it is not clear, we can have one more discussion. Okay, so just go through this note today. In case if you're not clear about that, definitely we'll have a discussion tomorrow. Okay, don't worry about that. Let me type it on the chat. And hypervisor, I just pasted a few details on the chat, requesting everyone to write a heading called hypervisor and copy this one. So this may be useful to you. Now there are two type you can able to see. There are two type. Hypervisor 2 type you can able to see here. Type 1 or basically known as bare method. You can able to see this. I just pasted the details. These are the few products available in the market. Okay, so let's take a note of this. Now you can able to see this details here. 1 second. Okay, now right now these are the few notes for your hypervisor. So this will help you to understand about a topic here. So this is a very important point you need to remember. This will ensure that give you some insight about hypervisor. Now team, you may be not going to work on in a hypervisor. Understand that this is a technology. It's been using by the cloud providers or vendors on in the backend. Whether you take Azure or it's been like a cloud, you can able to see it's been like you can able to see it's been yeah, it's been used by the uh, you can able to see it's been the vendors are being used one here. So that's an important point you need to remember here. So you can able to see this vendors are being used in the hypervisor is the backend one. So that is the important point you need to remember here. Now that's about the hypervisor here. Now let's go and see how this has been configured on in a cloud scenario here. So you can able to see this is the type of the how the VM is been implemented on in a cloud scenario here. Now let me take into a slide here. Let's back to here. So right now on the screen, you may be able to see the legacy type or how this has been configured on in a cloud. Right now on the screen, whatever method you are able to see here. This is basically a on-premises scenario. In an on-premises scenario, your VM is actually has been configured on in a physical server, right? On in a physical server, you are installing a hypervisor, and on top of that, your VM is been configured. That is the way your server is been configured on in a on-premises scenario. So if you take any on-premises scenario, all your servers is actually configured on in a physical server. Now, who has been owning this physical server? I'm just giving this is the situation in your on-premises scenario. Now we are getting a question here: who is been the or who is the whose responsibility to manage this server here? Can you comment it on the chat in an on-premises scenario? So in an on-premises scenario, you can able to see it's been like you can able to see this is in an on-premises scenario. This has been completely yes server admin or um, the person has been managing it, right? So if you take any uh, servers here, whose responsibility to manage this server, that's an important point you need to remember here. So that's an important point you can able to see it. So 1 second, I'm just now you can able to see here once the cloud is been implemented in your organizations, there is one important or drastic change you can able to see here. Previously in a on-premises scenario, as all of us is mentioned on in a chat, it was been mentioned by a server admin, or mentioned by the um, it's been mentioned by the IT team or an organization. If the complete server is been shifted into cloud technology here. So previously the all the virtual machine or the VM we were saving on in a on-premises one. This has been lifted or shifted into cloud data center here. So that is one important change you can able to see. If you can able to see like a so I'm seeing there is some message we are getting. Which pop-up is been getting here? Uh, Stop sharing pop-up. I'm not seeing that option here. Suraj, can you help me that? There is some comment on the chat.
Mm,
I'm not.
Stop sharing. I don't see any issue in the presentation. It's clear and it's in full screen and it's visible to be reading. I don't see any issue actually.
Okay. For me also, it's been my secondary monitor also. It's been complete screen has been coming. Anyway, thank you for the feedback. Anyway, if it is coming up, the technical team will look into that. So right now we were discussing about how the change has been happened on in your VM when it is coming on in a cloud infrastructure. The complete server is been moved into a cloud service provider data center. So the complete host management is been done by the cloud service provider here. That is an important point we need to remember here. So when you use a on-premises scenario, it's the completely this it's been managed or it's been moved on into the CSP here. So technically, you want to understand when you are using a virtual machine on in a cloud, technically the VM has been not hosted or it's been not residing or it's been not available in your data center here. Instead of that, or rather than that, it's been available in the cloud service provider data center. It's been completely hosted, and the cloud service provider has been responsible for providing the support for that. It's been completely managed by the vendor itself. It's been completely the physical server has been managed by the vendor itself. That is important point you need to remember on in a cloud. So that's the important point. You can able to see it on in a cloud side here. So that's the important point you need to remember here. Now, what is the benefit you're going to get it on in a cloud here? When you're using a cloud or when you're using on in a Microsoft VM, what are the advantage or what are the benefit you are going to get it here? So the basic advantage which you're going to get it on in a cloud is basically you are not responsible for managing a physical server here. Instead of that, it's basically you can able to see like you have a server is been available. You have a complete physical server is actually it's been hosted on in a CSP data center here. So you don't need to manage the physical server. That is an important point. You can able to see it on in a cloud server here. So you can able to see when you're using a cloud VM, it's been managed by the physical server. It's been completely managed by the cloud service provider. It's been not managed by you. You may be remembering when you were using on in a cloud or in an on-premises scenario, the on-premises service is been completely managed by us. Resource utilization or update or any kind of a modifications, it's been completely handled by us, right? When you deploy a server on in an on-premises one, it's our responsibility to manage the servers here. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud, it's completely managed by the vendor itself. It's been like a CSP. It's been completely managed by the vendor itself here. So that is an important point you need to remember here. So that is an important point. You can able to see it here. Now, let me give you a scenario here. Let me. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, we have a two situation here. One I'm just giving here, it's been like a on-premises one. And second one, it's about a cloud scenario. Now, in an on-premises one, when you took or when you deploy a server, responsibility of the entire host, including server or a CPU or any kind of upgradation, it's been the responsibility of us. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, in case if you want to do any kind of a upgradation, for example, like if you take any servers, the upgradation or any kind of a the host management is being completely managed by the cloud service provider. We are not responsible for managing the server. If something goes wrong on the hardware side, for example, like in case if you want to go for any kind of a CPU or in case you want to go for any kind of a modification on in the RAM or a disk or hardware resource, it's been completely managed by the vendor itself. We are not responsible for host management. We are going to get a access from the operating system onwards. You are responsible or we are getting a access or we are getting a response from a OS management onwards. That is an important point you need to remember here. So that's an important point you can able to see here. So basically when you go for any kind of a modification here, basically this has been coming on in a Microsoft cloud side. Is basically the OS management has been coming on in a responsibility of the users here. That is an important point you need to remember here. So in case if you are going for any kind of a cloud management, operating system is been managed by us, and from the operating system onwards, it's been the responsibility of it's coming us. But the hardware has been not managed by us. That's the important point you need to remember here. So that is a important or the key point you need to remember on in a cloud side. So in an on-premises side, it's been the host management has been done by us. That is an important or a key point you can remember on in a cloud side here. Now, when you're going for deploying a VM, a couple of point or a checklist we need to remember here. So there are two scenarios you may be able to see it on in a cloud or in a client side. One, it's been like the organization has been completely moving your resource from your existing on-premises to cloud, that basically known as lift and shift. The technical term we used to use it on in a cloud scenario, something called as a rehosting, or few people will be using a term called lift and shift. Lift and shift means that whatever servers has been available on in your on premises, completely you are moving or you are migrating or you are shifting into a cloud infrastructure, that basically known as lift and shift here. So you are completely deploying a server or completely moving a server into a cloud infrastructure, that basically known as lift and shift. That is an important point. You can able to see it on in a cloud, or some of the documents you may be able to hear a term called lift and shift here. Now we are trying to see how a VM can be deployed on in a cloud side here. That's an important point. Right now we are going to discuss this here. You may be remembering, when you're deploying a server on in a on-premises scenario, a couple of resources has been configured along with your VM, right? Along with your server. For example, like when you're deploying a server on in a on-premises data center, you may be remembering, first you will take a physical host, then you may go for ISO image mounting, or you may be able to attach CD or a DVD drive. On top of that, you may be able to see, uh, you can able to upload the image, and with the help of that you can do the installation of the server here. That is one point we used to do it on in a on-premises scenario. Second point, you may be seeing like when you configure a server, on backside of your server you may implement network interface card, and this network interface card you will connect to switch or a router, and that is another point we used to do in an on-premises scenario. So when you want to deploy a server on in an on-premises, we have a lot of exercise we used to do it on in an on-premises scenario, like connecting CD drive or a DVD drive or ISO image, or configuring a RAID concept, or connecting to a switch or a router or a routing configuration. All this is possibility we were doing on in a on-premises scenario. Now we are getting a question, how we are going to manage this on in a cloud scenario. In a cloud scenario, how you are going to deploy this one. Now in a cloud scenario, you are going to deploy with the help of a few planned checklist here. You can able to see few checklist here. For example, like in case if you want to move it on in a cloud, there is a few checklists we used to follow here, which has been starting from a network onwards. You can able to see like you have a naming conversions or a deciding a location like this. You have a few checklists we used to follow here. Let me show you how a VM can be implemented on in a cloud scenario here. For example, like you are working for a client. Now client is saying, hey Robin, I need a server for my DB server. I need to have a DB server which needs in a US locations. I need to deploy this one. I need to have a 4 GB RAM, and I need to have a 2 CPU. I need to have a 100 GB. So this is the configuration the client is actually looking for a VM. Now you may be remembering, in case if you want to configure a similar kind of a configuration on in a on premises, how do we do? In case if I need the same kind of a configuration, I'll take the configuration first, then I'll connect to Dell or HP or Cisco. I'll connect with a vendor. I'll go for a purchasing a server, and it will take a 2 weeks or a 3 weeks time, and this will deliver to my place. And for implementing this entire configuration on in a on premises, it will take minimum 3 weeks to 1 month, right? I hope you are agreeing with this one, right? Yes, the process is going to be slow. We may have to get a financial approval. You need to get a business approval, and it will take some time for shipping the device or a shipping the asset on into my place. I may have to work with a data center or a data room team. I'll take lot of time for coordinating with a different team, like a networking or operation team or a project manager. So it will take almost a month time for implementing this one. Now, right now we are discussing in case if someone want to implement a VM on in a cloud, how do we do that? What are the process we need to follow that? Now, I'm giving a request here. The customer has been looking to implement this server in a US locations. Now, if it is a on-premises one, in case if I need to implement a server in a US, I may have to send my engineer into US. Or in case if I want to implement the server in a Switzerland, I may have to spend this server into uh, I might have to send my engineer or resource into that particular country, right? Now, in case of in a Microsoft cloud scenario, depends upon the application or depends upon the client request. Microsoft can able to deploy a servers on any locations because Microsoft is having data center across the globe. It's not that available only in a one country. No, that basically known as Microsoft is having a physical data centers across the globe that basically known as the technical term we used to use it called as a region. You maybe heard about a term called regions, right? Microsoft region. So Microsoft region is nothing. Microsoft is having data center across the globe. Now, if you go to Microsoft page, if you type Microsoft regions, you may be able to see Microsoft is having data center or physical location across the globe, right? Right now you may be able to see this is the globe you can able to see here. Let me paste it on the chat, the link. Right now I'm just pasting the link here on the chat. This is the data center link. This is the data center information about Microsoft. So the physical data centers available from a Microsoft basically known as regions. Right now you can able to see these all locations Microsoft having data centers. See, if you go to Microsoft page, see these all locations Microsoft having data centers. Right now if you can see, this is the data centers. All these are the geographies you can able to see. All this location right now you can able to see this. If you select on this globe, you can able to see the Microsoft data centers across the globe. See, you can able to see a map here. Previously we used to get a map for that. Right now look like Explorer. Yes, right now I'm just showing the Microsoft Azure page. It will take a few minutes for loading that. It's been loading. Let's take a few minutes. Let's wait. Right now this page has been loading. It's been taking some time because it's been uh, getting this details on in the page. Let's wait for a minute. Let's wait for a few minutes. It's been loading. The page has been loading. It's been taking time. So let's wait. It's been taking time. The next better. Let me refresh the screen. Look like it's been taking time. Yes, right now you may be able to see on the screen. Microsoft is saying they're having a 140 plus locations. They're having a data center. Now on the screen, whatever location you can able to see here, these all Microsoft is having a data center. See here. So like if you go to the explore the globe, you change these locations, you may be able to see all these locations. Microsoft is having a data center. Now if you click here, it will give you the details about where the locations and what are the benefits you have, what are the kind of the policies been implemented, what are the product is been available. All these details you may be able to get it from here. So technically Microsoft is having 56 plus regions. Microsoft is having a data centers, 140 plus locations they're having a physical data center is been available. But the technical term we used to use it on in a cloud, it's called regions. Any physical data center available on in a Microsoft, it's basically known as Microsoft Azure regions. The technical term we used to use it's called Azure regions here. So the technical term is called, the physical data center is basically known as Azure region. So it's basically a geographical physical location or a data center that basically known as regions. What is the advantage you are getting? Depends upon the customer requirements. Now the customer is saying, hey Robin, I need to implement a server in South Africa. I don't need to worry about any data center or a data room here, because Microsoft has been supporting a physical data center here. So basically Microsoft is being giving a global coverage for me, a global presence for me. If the client is been looking a server in any location, uh, confidently I can able to inform my client, nothing to worry, I have a data center has been available. My vendor, Microsoft is having a data center has been available in that location. So we can go and implement any servers, or we can go and implement, or we can go and host any application on any locations. What is the advantage you are going to get it here? We are going to get it a low, you maybe heard about a one of the common issues which you are going to face is on in a normally in a network, something called as latency, right? So that can be avoided here, because it depends upon the user where they are residing. For example, like my users are from a US, um, we don't need to worry about hosting a server in a India or a Nepal or a Philippines. Depends upon the client, depends upon where the user is been available. There you can able to implement the servers here. That is an important point you need to remember. So basically it depends upon where the user is been available. Based on that you can able to move, or you can able to deploy the servers here. So advantage is here, you have a global presence or a global application is been available. So based on that you can able to deploy the servers here. Now let's go and deploy a single server here. Tomorrow we'll discuss more about the configuration part. Let me go and implement a simple VM server today here. Now, in case if you want to manage, or in case if you want to implement any servers, as I said in the morning, we need to connect to Microsoft portal here. There are different mechanisms been available for managing a resource on in a cloud portal. One method it's been like, you can connect to portal.azure.com. The moment when you entered your portal.azure.com, this will ask you for a username and password. So this will allow us to create it, or this will allow us to log into that portal here. So with the help of that, you can log into Microsoft portal. Once you entered, you can able to enter into that one, and you can able to manage all the resources here. This is one method. This is basically a GUI method, right? Whatever screen right now you're seeing here, that everything it's been a graphical user interface based options here. Now, in case if you're from a PowerShell background, you have an option to use a something called as shell. You have an option to use a shell here. Right now, you can able to see when you select these options, you may be able to manage all your resource in a command base, or you can able to use it's in a PowerShell base here. For example, like if I'm from a Linux background, I have a Linux option is been available here, basically known as bash. In case if you want to create, or in case if you want to create a VM, or you want to delete a VM, or if you want to manage any kind of a configurations here, you can able to manage it in a automation ways, or you can able to manage in a scripted ways, or you can able to manage with the help of a command ways here. So that's completely managed with the help of a different management tool here. Right now on the screen, bottom of the screen, you may be able to see there is a black screen has been opened here. So in case if you are from a command lines method, or in case if you are from a Linux background, you can able to use this method. See, bash or a PowerShell, you can able to use this one. See, you can able to use a bash or a PowerShell. With the help of that, you can able to manage here. So this will help us for managing your entire infrastructure in a command base, or rather than using a GUI method. In case if you want to automate, or in case if you want to use a command or a more powerful tool if you want to use, then you can able to go for PowerShell base. Now what I'm trying to say here is, when you're deploying a server, depends upon your comfort or depends upon your flexibility, you have an option to use a portal.azure.com, or you have an option to use other method also, like a PowerShell or a bash. This kind of a method also has been available, which will allow us to do a management here. So that is an important point you need to remember here. So that will help us to for us help us for managing a server here. Now, in case if you want to manage, or in case if you want to create a VM on in a cloud, multiple method you can able to use it here. The first method, you can able to go for a place called marketplace. In the search bar, you can able to type a place called marketplace. You maybe already learned in the last session, marketplace is like a kind of an online store where you can able to see all the products Microsoft is been supported on in a cloud. Everything it's been available here. It can be operating system, or it can be a firewall, or it can be a database. Everything you can able to see on in a marketplace here. Now, one important point you need to remember here, marketplace has been supporting almost 8,000 plus product here. Whatever product which you can able to implement, or which you can able to run on in a Microsoft Azure, everything has been available on in a marketplace. So marketplace, we can able to say this is something like a online store where you can able to select or implement, or you can able to select the right product from the Microsoft store. So any product which you can able to run on in a cloud, that you can able to see it on in a network here. So you can able to see on in a marketplace here. So let me give you a few note here about the marketplace. For example, like in case you want to take Unix product, you can go to this search bar here and you can enter. Few people have a concept or a perception, Microsoft Azure has been supporting only Microsoft product. No, Microsoft has been supporting non-Microsoft product also. For example, like if someone is need a Linux or a Unix, you can just type it here. You may be able to see other Unix or a Linux product which you can confidently you can able to run without any issue. That you can able to get it from a Microsoft Azure portal. So these are the few details you can able to see here. I just pasted the details here. Azure Marketplace is a kind of an online store from where you can able to discover, or where you can able to deploy here. For example, like in case if I need to install a Ubuntu here, I can just select it here, and here I have option is been available, something called as create. So I can able to go and deploy it here. So right now on the chat, I have been given few notes related to Azure Marketplace, which will be able to give you the details about that. Now you can able to see this other solution categories been available here. So these are the few important points related to the Azure Marketplace. So what I'm trying to say here is when you're using Azure Marketplace, where you can able to see almost 8,000 plus product, which include operating system, firewall, any product which is can be supported on in a cloud, that you can able to get it from a marketplace here. That's an important point you need to remember here. Now, right now we are going to discuss about implementing a Microsoft operating system here. Now, what I was trying to say here is you have a multiple methods are available which will allow us to create a VM here. So one of the option you can able to use it here, it's like you can go to marketplace, and on the marketplace you can able to give the operating system name. For example, like right now I'm planning to deploy a Windows server. You need to just type it Windows server. This will give you a complete details here. You can able to see this is giving the complete operating system details here. Right now this has been loading from the inventory. For example, like I need to go for Windows Server Data Center Edition. I need to just select it here. So this will give you the details here. So that's an important point you can able to see here. Now, so here is the place you can able to select this one. So right now you may be able to see here, you have a option for creating here. Or second option, in case if you want to go for configuring VM from an option called virtual machines. On the left side of the resource panel, you may be able to see an option called virtual machines here. Now, you have option for virtual machines here. Here you will get an option called something called as a create here. So the moment when you select a button called a create, this will allow us for creating a VM here. So tomorrow I'll be taking for creating a VM. We'll be discussing about management of how to manage your VM. We'll be discussing about a networking or a storage component which has been available on in a cloud. So we'll have a detailed discussion tomorrow about a VM management, how to manage this VM, or what is the use of a VM availability zone, how to provide a redundancy on in a VM. All these points will be discussed tomorrow here. Now I'm just posing here for a Q&A. There is a lot of question has been posted on the chat, and a few people have been complaining like I mean not answer. So can you post all your questions once again on the chat? Let's have answer all that questions, please. So can you just post it on the chat? Mohammed, you were asking some more questions. So there is a couple of questions you've been posted on in the past. Can you repost that question, please? Any questions from anyone? Are we going to form something for attendance? Yeah, attendance link will be posted now. Yeah, so sure we'll be providing you the link. Surag, I request you to post the attendance link, please. We'll get the attendance link here. So I just need your help for posting the attendance link. I missed the link, so I didn't save
Yeah,
that.
sure. About that, we are not having daily basis because certificate is completely automated. When they fill the
Okay,
form,
great.
they get it in 1 minute. So I think it's best for them to fill out at the third day.
Okay, okay, fine. So it's been third day. Okay, okay. Sorry, the process got changed. So thank you for confirming that. Thank you. So you don't need to fill daily. That is the update we have. So you need to fill it on the third day. So you need to ensure that all the days you have been attending, then only you are going to get the certificate. That is the key update from us. So there's an important point all of us need to remember here. Any other technical questions? Previously, some question has been posted on the chat. I'm just trying to get that questions. So is there anything I missed? Just scrolling back. Can I get a slide for that? Yeah, we'll try to give a PDF of that. So I'll try to get that. So we'll be trying to upload that. Now other questions David missed. How Microsoft Azure Cloud will help us to fast my website. Uh, so that's been one of the question you can able to I can able to see on in the chat. One second. Just trying to get all the questions on the chat first. Okay, now the one question I can able to see from Mahmoud Razani has been asking like how Microsoft Azure has been help us to fast my website. Uh, Mahmoud, it's not that you just hosted an application or a website on in a Microsoft portal. It's not giving you a better performance here. That's just going to be like a how on premises, how you've been implementing a similar kind of feature. The advantage which you're going to get it here depends upon what are the services or what are the feature you're going to enable it on in a cloud. Based on that, you are going to get a performance here. One of the key term we were discussing in a few minutes before here. One of the common issue all of us are facing on in a on-premises scenario is that latency. That is one of the key term or one of the common issue all of us are been working. So latency can be avoided here. The reason it's been like Microsoft is having a global presence across the globe here. So latency will be avoided for your website. Or you may be heard about a product or a feature called CDN. That's called Azure Content Delivery Network. Basically like for a caching purpose. So that will allow or that will help us for speeding up your delivery of your website every time if the user is been trying to access some images or some javascript files. So the caching of your asset, especially on an edge location around the world, can be reduced, or that will give you reduce your latency or whatever loading time you have, that will be reduced here. So you need to enable a lot of features like a content delivery network, or you may be heard about a feature called app service or a friend door, or you have an option called a blob storage, or you have something called as auto scaling. All these features you need to enable. It's not that you just implemented a website on in a Microsoft Azure VM. That's not going to give a some improvements on in your website side. You have to enable some dependent features or a services on in a cloud portal that will allow us to increase the performance of your server. So that's an important point you need to remember here. Any other questions? So then other one connecting to RDP. I'll have this connection part tomorrow. I'll help you how to connect this tomorrow. Can you show me the process or a demo? Yes, definitely will have me a demo tomorrow, Mahmoud Azan. Whatever topic we have been discussing here, tomorrow I'll be able to show you a demo of this the VM creation or the connectivity part. Tomorrow we'll have definitely a demo for that. Any other questions from anyone? So I'm just looking to this old messages. Any Yes, Arif, we have a chart will be shared tomorrow. The topic which you are going to cover here. So we'll be focusing Arif more on the VNet. We'll be discussing more on the firewall. We'll be discussing about Active Directory and the monitoring one. So these are the 5 services which we are going to focus more on in the next couple of days. So we have a chart and the key services will be discussed here. Now we are getting a question from an on-premises server. There is a question is coming like, is there any while hosting on in a hardware? Basically, you need to go for a powerful server because you need to have a powerful storage or a networking, or you need to have a backup and DR is being needed. So we cannot give any particular configuration here. That all depends, Oliver, depends upon the complexity of your infrastructure. So that all depends upon the complexity here. Load balancer I'll be covering here. There is an unknown user has been posted here. I want to learn more about load balancer. On the last day, I'll be covering about a load balancer and firewall. So we have a session is been coming. So I'll be discussing about that topic. Load balancer will be covered during this session. I'll be help you how to create that. So we have a session. Any other questions from anyone? Load balancer will be covered. Uh, Sorry, my mic went in a mute mode accidentally. So the same link can be used for tomorrow here. So how does Azure service is uniquely different? That's good. Like a possible, like once you started implementing this VM, you'll be able to understand that one. Let's hold that question on into the bucket. Possible, like while implementing, you'll be able to understand that one. So let's wait. Now, other questions? Anything I missed? No, PowerShell we are not covering here. Yeah, in case of a failure, how the recovery has been done on in a data side. Yes, we'll be discussing a topic called VM availability set and availability zone. There is a two topic we'll be covering tomorrow. We'll be touching tomorrow availability set and availability zone. So we have a session has been coming on in a availability zone part or availability set part. So it'll be covered on that. So over to you, Surak. Is there any dedicated host? Yes. Mahmoud, there is a three option has been available here. In case if the customer is been looking for any kind of a dedicated host, they have option to select it here. So when you go to the Azure portal, you have an option has been available something called as a dedicated host. If you go to the cloud portal, in a cloud portal, you have an option for selecting a host option here. Let me show you tomorrow while implementing a VM. So in case if a customer is saying, I don't want any kind of a shared servers here, so they have an option for selecting a dedicated host. But the important point you need to remember, at any point of time, if the client or if you're selecting for a dedicated host, there is additional cost is been involved. That is an important point you need to remember here. So there is additional cost is been involved. So the same link, you can use it for tomorrow's sessions. Yeah. Over to you, Surak.
Thank you, Robin, for the session. I think we were able to cover a lot of basic concepts for today's session, and I hope it was useful for you, and I hope everybody captured all the notes that Robin was sharing in the chat box, and a few links that I have shared also in the chat box for you to refer more about AZ104 and a few basic concepts and assessment questions. So, with that, we are ending the day one of AZ104 training, and we have 2 more days to be going. And the same link you can use, and also it'll be the same time as today. And again, thank you for Robin for sharing, spending his time to be sharing his knowledge with us. And thank you all for joining with us and spending a 2 hour, 2.5 hours with us in the session. And we are looking forward to have you with the rest of the days and as well and getting your certificate. And thank you and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.